welcome to Critical Tumble, where a bunch of longtime friends and internet nerds transcend geography through the power of Discord to play Dungeons and Dragons, and let cats in or out depending on how annoying and in what manner they're being annoying. We love the resident Cupcake Coterie felines, we really do. It's just they really need to make up their minds, but the same could be said for all cats, so never mind. Previously, the Cupcake Coterie were traveling through the unnaturally frozen Gray's Inn to get to the capital city of Gray's Inn and face down Varidel, the ancient white dragon that is sitting on top of it. On the way, they came across squad, well, what was left of a squad of mercenaries playing medevac, the Sullivan's baby daughter Sarah, and then the blind harpy, where they came across the blind harpy looking something they never thought it would. Worse. Also, a pile of extremely grabby corpses. Or extremely grabby pile of corpses is probably closer to the truth, because it was one entity by that point. 3 young white dragons. And down in the basement, some drow that went entirely crazy, and with a certain amount of body horror of, as Hazel explained, potentially the Shamash variety. In any case, they continued on. And they got to the Sullivan plantation, where things were messy. There was evidence of a drow raid. There was the bathtubs, all of them were full of frozen blood. Most of the herd dogs of the Sullivan plantation were scattered hell for breakfast across the front yard. The elderly Briard that was that considered Remy her favorite, survived by dint of sleeping under the porch most of the time, and one tiny kitten. Also evidence of clerics worse than just clerics of Lolth. Ones that, according to Rylan, apparently worship the darkness that made Lolth what she is. So that was a thing. It was also previously in the drow encampment. Farada found evidence of some of the black shit they were apparently shipping to places came through Cragveer via her old settlement. So that was a fun thing to discover. And then they checked the barn to try to find some place for Legolas to bed down for the night and got the horse avalanche. They left the horse avalanche spread out in front of the barn just because, well, if anybody is thinking that this way is a good idea, maybe they will rethink that when they see the pile of half-eaten frozen corpse. We live in eternal hope. Anyway, they made Legolas a kind of dire moose capsule hotel in the cellar. It's a little small, but it's also got, like, food. So, last they saw Legolas was happily munching away at a bag of half-frozen, slightly mushy apples.
Just face, most of bag gone.
Yeah, that's what you get when you have a dire moose who can stomp a young white dragon into the ground. Yes! So yeah, they came up. They came back up through the cellar going, Legolas is sorted out. While Alice is figuring out the kitchen and producing various bits of food.
I think I was helping her, wasn't I?
Yeah, well, you've been watching, and you took a bit of a break from that.
That one.
And that's when you ended up throwing up over the horse avalanche. Yes, so it's putting the finishing touches on and dishing up food as you guys come back up through the cellar. Yeah, because as I recall, Alice's comment was, eat first and then tell us what happened. We'd like to actually have appetites. Ava worked hard to help me with this. And shoulder bop for Ava as she passes by. Yeah, well, while they're eating, in a bit to take our mind off things until we actually have to discuss it, I'm thinking, we checked the servants' quarters and everything, but after the dinner, we ought to check the main house, if for no other reason than, Sarah's probably gonna need things.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
We should check that out.
I mean, if we're shipping the floofers.
Yep. In addition, one more thought that I had. I know we're planning to arrange that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
With
Arkan,
right?
Yeah.
What if? Would there be any? Do you think there'd be any way to say convince him to help deal with this guy, this white dragon, as sort of a proof of problem? Would there? Because if the black crap is corrupting.
That's the problem. We don't know if the black crap is corrupting that particular dragon. We know it was corrupting things here, but we don't know if that's anything to do. And that's the first thing he's going to ask. Are you sure? Do you have proof? We have supposition.
Yep.
Correlation is not causation.
Circumstantial evidence, I think is the phrase.
Speaking
He's
of
gonna be
him,
real
though,
neurotic about it.
that actually reminds me of something. Wasn't it? Was it? Did I remember right that Froseth was supposed to be the spokesperson?
Barnabas.
Him or Barnabas?
Oh, Barnabas. Yes, right. 'Cause I was thinking, wait, Froseth is no longer with us.
Yeah, well, we kind of have to rethink these things on the fly, but we don't know exactly when we're doing that yet. But I mean, honestly, it's a pretty big ask.
Oh yeah,
to no, not you, Hazel. It's a bit of a big ask for for Arkan. I mean, you're a cleric of Palor, and obviously you are a good person. He is more devotion than he is right thing to do.
Yeah.
And so, it would take a lot to make him go that much against his god that obviously.
That means, if anything, we'd have to use this guy as proof if we live.
When?
And if he's tainted. That's the if in that sentence.
You're right.
It's win enough if we convince him that Tiamat is under threat from this.
Well, that would go a long way, potentially.
But, if that's the problem.
If he's not tainted, what do we do then?
Yeah, because if we showed that to Arkan, that would just demonstrate that maybe that black crap and dragons can coexist.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, the little ones had traces of it, but...
The eggs were an absolute...
And now the eggs are frozen scrambles, so...
Yeah, those had to be gotten rid of before anything else started coming out of them.
Oh, no, I know. I'm not saying that was a bad thing to do. I'm just saying that it's...
No, agreed. It's just inconvenient that we had proof, but we had to destroy the proof to keep it from becoming worse.
And to be fair, that isn't even necessarily proof. You could have corrupted the eggs after they were laid. And also, that still doesn't have anything to do with Varidel, because Varidel is male.
Exactly. Yeah, I just mean, like, in general, it being a threat to Tiamat. The black stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately, all of this boils down to one thing. Yeah, but those are mortals. She's a god.
That is
Yep.
true.
It's a good thought. I just do not see how it would work. And the last time we tried to ask a dubiously aligned individual for assistance on the basis of something incredibly far-fetched, I ended up in the Shadowfell.
We'd like to avoid any repeats of that debacle.
Well, yeah, you all got locked up. Most of you got chain lightning, and I ended up in the Shadowfell. I don't want any of that.
There's none of us, I imagine.
So in the meantime, who wants to help me go look around for Sarah's things?
Well, first we need to, now that we're about finished dinner, figure out, well, get told what the hell had you looking so awful in the barn and why is it not usable?
We found the horses.
Oh,
What was left of them, rather.
Yeah. And it kind of opened the door and all at once, so, yes.
You know that... Have you ever seen a situation where someone's packed so much into a closet that the minute someone opens it again, everything comes out at once?
Oh.
Someone had managed to do that with horse parts. It was disgusting.
Putting it mildly.
Poor Ava.
I'll leave, don't worry.
well,
Oh, Brian booped.
What the hell?
connection
His
issues,
internet
they happen sometimes.
Bungling.
No, I mean, you're keeping dinner down, so that's something.
At least everything was cold.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it
so-
doesn't sound like that much was that frozen, though.
It was sludgy and it was sludgy. So that's the best way to describe it. It was
Slush.
half frozen.
It was
and-
slush. That's what you call it when it's half frozen snow.
Yep. And so we went around. We found that the basement hatch was still accessible, and that was
That's
actually
why
better
That's
than-
why Legs is in the cellar.
Yep.
And quite happy. Lots of... Oh,
There was a couple bags of like apples that had gone a little funky, but were still looked to be all right enough, and he just kind of ate half the bag in one gulp.
So he's eating frozen fermented apples.
Wait, we didn't check if they were fermented.
If they're slightly punky, they are probably fermented.
He might be a little bit drunk later.
A drunken moose. A drunken dire moose. Oh my.
Yeah, at which point there is kind of a crunch, and there's some antler tips through the floor.
No.
highlights.
Oh, hello.
But it's just small. It's just the and then.
Oh yeah, that was still highlights
Oh,
through,
no.
through the resulting holes.
So tomorrow we get to deal with a hungover moose.
Oh no. I have lesser restoration.
Does that work on moose?
It would work on anything, theoretically.
Great, we're into theory that would be better discussed with druids.
If it's living and it's affected by Ig, I have the spell for that. I'm hoping it clears all of it, but the best I got.
I'm just saying, you got my moose drunk.
Not intentionally.
And that's better?
Not a
Results
lot,
the same.
no. But at the very least, we can apologize properly. Instead of just kind of flailing and being indignant about it. I don't know, some people get weird about when they do stuff intentionally. And because this was an accident...
Well, to be fair, you're getting flaily and indignant that I am cross that you accidentally spiked my moose's food.
That's... Okay. That is accurate, but I'm trying to be flaily and indignant about the fact that people do that, not about this. I don't know. I'm on a completely different thought process right now.
Basically, whether you did it by accident or did it on purpose, you're going to get defensive when somebody is calling you out on it. It's just a different kind of defensive.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say.
Clarity, shouldn't you be our translator now?
I need a translator for myself. I've got a lot going on in here.
That's fair.
By the way, I did think of a name for the kitten. Well, his first name is Aloysius, because obviously he looks like an Aloysius. And his last name is King of All He Surveys. Aloysius, King of All He Surveys. Hyphenated.
Shouldn't there be a Sullivan tacked to the end of that? For Sarah, if nothing else?
I don't know. I think that King of All He Surveys includes the Sullivans.
Clarity. That was amazing.
What the fuck is a Houston name?
You do you.
All I'm going to say is that most of the way to Faye already, and I'm honestly starting to enjoy this even more than I already enjoyed base Clarity.
Just consider that this is probably going to be Sarah's kitten, and when Sarah is starting to talk properly, kids have a hard time with some syllables, so there's probably going to be a mishmash that ends up as survey says.
Because for short. K-A-H-S.
Kinda like what happened with me and Noop.
I just call him Wish.
All hail Wish.
I mean, we must have wished for something. Because rescue
and for Clarity to come up with that, because that became Wish.
And it's a lot easier for people to pronounce. Besides, it probably will not incite the wrath of Noop. Because can you imagine the chief feline of Hearthhome being forced to share space with King of All He Surveys, hyphenated? Noop would eat him.
I do like the Aloysius. And Wish is in there, so that works.
Best.
He can be King of All He Surveys in your head.
All right.
It's your secret name for him. And you can tell it to Sarah when she's worthy.
Feel like you're patronizing me, but that's okay.
No, actually, I'm going slow because I'm actually just coming up with this on the fly. I don't know. I didn't do most of the childhood things, so this is all a little bit new to me. So I'm going across it like the first time you cross the stones in a stream.
Just don't do what I do when I end up crossing stones, usually. And
Yeet.
fall off.
Off. Yeah.
I can also see you trying to jump to like the third one. Yeet! Splush.
Exactly that.
I can't say I know you too well, but it's amazing how much insight into you I have. Hello, you are back.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Welcome back.
Hey.
We got there.
Welcome back to the land of the living.
It still says my internet's down.
Your internet is not, in fact, down. It's
Oh, now it's
probably
Yeah, it usually takes a minute for.
happen.
Internet
It tells
and
me it's
error.
down, and then it actually isn't.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That shit happens. Sometimes the router just.
Has a day.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just
As
decides
an
I am
user.
resetting now. No, you have absolutely no say in it.
I mean, there was an outage earlier, but that was literally moving router to keep cats away from it. So
That reminds me, I gotta reroute my cable in my office. Thank you for reminding me. I forgot.
you're welcome.
It's all around cats now, because we just got through with the conversation. Clarity was leading about having named the kitten Aloysius, King of all he surveys, hyphenated.
Oh.
We're shortening it to Wish, and
Okay. Is Aloysius and then King hyphenated into King of all he surveys? It's
No.
all one?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's Aloysius is the first name, and then the surname is King hyphen of hyphen all hyphen he hyphen surveys.
Yeah,
All right.
last name is magical. Clearly, because it's hyphenated and it was spoken into being by a Fey warlock.
Yeah. Absolutely.
A Fey warlock in a tiefling suit.
Well, no, a tiefling Fey warlock. There doesn't need to be a warlock in a tiefling suit. That just is clarity.
I don't know. I have no idea how any of this works. But yes, no, Clarity, I am not patronizing you. I am just trying to figure out a way that kids are actually going to be able to pronounce the name. Besides, Sarah's going to be growing up in a much different household than she expected to. And having a little secret just to herself might be nice.
Yeah.
You've generated said secret. Win.
Yeah, and by worthy, I mean when she can pronounce it.
Mispronouncing it could be fun too.
I'm sure, but Mr. King of all he surveys deserves better. I hate it when people mispronounce my name. It's annoying. And I'm not queen of all I survey, so, there are certain standards for royalty. There are certain standards for royalty, right? I've very rarely met any. Also, they were telling about the horse avalanche.
Horse avalanche.
I mean, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, apparently there's going to be searches of the main household.
All right.
I call dibs on clarity.
What?
Jump up, grab, and start heading toward.
Okay, fine. For the rest of you, because somebody hopefully will catch up to them and stop them. But I'm gonna stay here as a backup with somebody else probably. But thought cleric linked individuals, the kind of blood ritual that requires bathtubs full of it, What are the odds that some of the rooms in this place are trapped by magical means, thus probably difficult to figure out, unless you can detect magic?
That is a good point.
If you see anything like that, I can dispel it. Which is why I'm staying here until y'all say you need me.
Good plan.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yes, except those...
Myself and Clarity probably didn't hear this, did we?
No.
Nope.
This is not my fault. You would not stop talking. So, where are you guys headed?
Should we do one main?
No,
because we-
should...
Sorry.
Bedrooms?
Okay. Of course, you don't know whose bedrooms are which, and you don't know... All you really know is the bedrooms are probably on the upper level. And you don't know which of the many closed doors on that upper level are bedrooms. I don't actually have a map for this, but I was hoping that people would wait. I should have known better. Anyway, are you aiming for specific doors, or are you just going to open the first one that comes to your hand, as it were? Because basically you've got a fair-sized corridor. 2, 3, 4 doors on the wall facing you as you're on the stairwell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doors on the other side, because the stairwell's kind of in the middle of the house.
I do not remember which ones were the bedrooms.
You didn't even really go up there. Sigwald did.
Then again, yeah. Then again, I wouldn't have even known. I didn't even come up here.
Yeah, we didn't when we were here. We just sort of saw them milling around and coming from up here.
Yeah. I'm gonna lean back towards the stairs. Does anybody here know the layout?
Will you come back down here? There's something you haven't taken into account. So they
I'm
come
gonna head
back.
down.
They were clericy types that worship nastiness, and they were collecting blood in bathtubs. Odds on these rooms possibly being trapped by magical means, not the kind of things that Clarity can actually poke at. I prepared explosive runes this morning, kind of thing. So, what y'all are gonna do is you're going to wait for Darvin to look around the place with his magic detection and figure out what, if any, of the doors are trapped, so that I can dispel that bullshit before you open them and, like, burn the place down over our heads.
Okay, Mr. Magic Eyeballs, let's do this.
I've been called worse. It's entirely inaccurate, so okay. So yeah, I'll go up to the top of the stairs, looking back, looking left and right, seeing, the general layout, realizing, like you said, it's pretty well smack in the middle. I will go ahead and kick off Detect Magic. Let me put the spell card up if you need it, or if you don't. There it is. I believe that's the button for me. That's the perfect. Okay. It's within 30 feet. I'm assuming the hall is longer than 30 feet.
Yeah, but you can pace up and down it and at least get a sense.
Which is exactly what I was going to suggest.
Concentration up to 10 minutes. I don't think anyone's going to be breaking your concentration.
looking at Hazel. Love you, Hazel.
There are 2 doors that are very specifically trapped. That would be evocation, whichever one is Kerboom, frankly. Behind one of the doors, it's not trapped, but a piece of furniture in there is. And that's more of an enchantment kind of a situation. And there's one that you cannot read. You can't see through that door. Apparently, it's that door that looks like wood isn't entirely, because you cannot see through 1 inch of most common metals. So that must be an important room, but unfortunately, it means that you cannot see into it.
Okay. So, starting from one end and walking slowly down, I get to the one door that is trapped. This is trapped. Evocation. Whatever makes boom. I'm not really sure.
Vocation.
Some of them. I think so. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And then I keep going and get to the room. The door is not, but something in there is enchantment, and I get all the way down, and I stop in front of the door that I can't read.
No, there was a second door that was trapped too. Same thing.
My bad. Then yeah, I'll flag that one up as well. This one's same as the other door, and then I'll get to one I can't read. And the look on Darvin's face, he's like, his forehead kind of scrunches up, not in a I hurt way, but more of a, you know, like
I am thinking hard.
Exactly, and it's like, I'm not getting anything. And if I'm not getting anything, that means this isn't wood, or at least it's over 3 inches, and I doubt it's over 3 inches. It's probably not wood. This is probably an important room. But
that's
I can't
3
get anything through
foot,
it.
not 3 inches.
Oh, it is 3 foot. I'm sorry. I have that screen farther away than I thought I did. You're absolutely correct. So yeah, that is not a 3 foot door. So that's not wood.
Yeah, because it could be 3 inches.
Oh yeah, it's not a yard.
Well,
so there you go. That's the state of it as far as I can tell. And I'll.
Well, Clarity, since you're going to be the one actually futzing around with all of this.
No,
No.
Alice is.
Alice
Alice
was
is
gonna
just
dispel
Magical
it.
traps.
LSA can just dispel it.
The reason I point this out is because there are certain things that it might not work against, because I know Dispel has some limitations, and if the traps in here are crazy enough, I have a backup just in case, and
Okay,
that's
well-
something I can get. Something I can cast for Clarity to be able to see kind of like what you're doing.
Okay, well, I say dispel first, and then
Work from
others
there.
after.
All
That's my
right,
suggestion anyway. Look,
we can wait up here.
Yeah.
Unless you want to all go back down and
I'll just.
Yeah, because Alice is just leaning on the banister on the ground level.
Yeah, so I'll walk back over to the stairs. 2 doors trapped, 1 piece of furniture in a room, and another door I can't get anything through. So.
Well, that sounds like something that we do need to look into, because, first, Clarity ought to check it for mechanical traps, and also if she can pick the lock, because if it's that well insulated, I'm thinking vault.
Something along those lines was my thought as well, yes.
And push comes to shove, she taps her clairvoyance chain.
And yeah, and I've got, well, I try to use it exceedingly sparingly, but I think I have a thing as well that might help. But we'll see.
Yeah, well, one thing at a time. Range on. Yeah, the doors she does. Bah. Sorry, that was somebody blowing, and it was right in my ear.
I think that was.
I think that was me.
Yeah, I think that was your mic, Anthony. Sorry.
It happens. It's just the pressure. It's physical pressure with these headphones. So it sort of startled me a little. So yeah, she dispels the two doors. Everything probably wants to be checked for mechanical traps too, but I'm gonna need to see the thing. That. Oh, and of course you stopped detecting magic because you say there's a thing in there, but since you couldn't physically see it, you just know it's there. So we're gonna have to check that door for anything mechanical, and then you're gonna have to detect again to see what it is I'm supposed to be dispelling. I mean, I can check for traps, but Clarity, you're better at it than I am.
Also, I can avoid damage from traps pretty well if things go haywire.
Well,
all right.
It's perception first because you're looking first.
Okay.
If you are dissatisfied, then you can.
5.
Yeah, you're not seeing anything. Fuck it. Why? This is not fair on Clarity. It really isn't. Yeah. Can you? You're probably good with this, but I'm seeing some things I don't like the look of. Can you poke at things without necessarily setting things off?
Well, of course.
Okay, cool. Then please do that, because you look far more sanguine about it than I do. Investigation.
Mm. 24.
That's better.
Yeah, no, she's right. It's difficult to spot, and she was probably going by where on the lock rather than the look of the door plate itself. But there's definitely something that if the tongue leaves that little hole in the plate, badness is going to happen. Can't you? There you go.
I'll disarm it.
Okay, thieves' tools.
Yep.
Oh no.
You were saying about avoiding damage from traps. Was that a feat, or was that just
It is a
uncanny
feat.
dodge?
Yeah, I get advantage on saving throws on traps, and also resistance to the damage from traps.
Okay. This is a bit unfortunate because Alice in complete trust was standing right behind you.
Oh no.
So, can you make me a dexterity saving throw, please?
Yep.
Oh, come on! 4. Was what was rolled on the
23.
dice. Yeah. Probably because Clarity jumped out of the way that she got as much of this as she did.
Does evasion work in this circumstance then?
Nope, because at that point, I mean, first of all, you've got you advantage the save. You're getting advantage against you're resistant to the damage, and you could not have seen that coming because you were trying to disarm.
Okay.
And you didn't know what the attack was. Oh, come on, really? So you take. So that's You take 8 points of acid damage, and Alice takes 15. Ow!
How much was that? 8, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Ow.
Oh, that's not good.
You won that one. Sorry.
Yeah, honestly, that was a great dive, but, I guess there was no real time for warning.
You okay up there?
Yeah.
You know what my pain scream sounds like. What do you think?
Well, good. Yeah, that's a good point.
But, I mean, technically speaking, the trap is disarmed.
Oh, was the 8 points already halved for resistance, or?
Yes, that's why Alice's was 15.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so what you actually have in the, behind the door with the acid trap, is Sarah's room. So you've got a crib, what you presume is a changing table, and a little chest of drawers, a wide variety of plush animals.
That's
Just
messed
the
up.
momentary refreshers. This the room Darvin saw the additional magic thing in? Or
Yes,
is this...
yes. We needed to look at it, and you needed to put
I didn't realize you were starting with that room. I'm sorry.
Well, we were, because she has to know what to dispel.
Right.
And they're not going any further than the door frame, just because they don't really know what else is in here, or whatever. We don't know what the thing is, and we don't know what it does beyond enchantment of some kind, and that could mean anything.
Yeah. So then Darvin will stand in the doorway, and little sing-song whistle wave in front of his eyes and detect magic once again.
Yeah.
And this time holding it.
Fairly large teddy bear. It's definitely some kind of illusion work.
Pointing at the particular bear, and enchantment of some sort, illusionary-ish.
I have concerns, but okay. And, her predominant focus for dispel magic really is fuck off. At which point the illusion that was on the fairly large teddy bear drops, and you might have wondered what happened to Mr. Sullivan. He wasn't trapped. That is his head. Oh!
Oh, jeez!
Fucking hell.
Not what I was expecting.
Yeah, no, I think I better do this now. And I'm going to be reaching into stuff, getting out a little bit of getting out the ingredients for True Sight.
Okay.
Which is basically a little
spell card?
It's an ointment.
Mm-hmm.
And Clarity, come here.
Okay.
Going to kind of like how one would apply eyeshadow, just kind of
Yeah,
the eyes.
but spell card?
Casting True Seeing, so I'm going to plug that in right now.
Okay. You don't really like seeing into the ethereal plane. The ethereal plane here is badly, badly wrong. It's seeing cold and tasting dark, and nothing actually makes sense while you're in there. And yeah, can you make me a wisdom saving throw, please?
Okay. Oh, hold on. Advantage is still on.
Yeah, be glad I'm not.
12.
Yeah, this needs. I mean, you're about keeping hold of your sanity, but this needs to be off now. This needs to be off right now, or you're going to fucking lose it. Because right now you can't keep track of what your senses are doing, and it's all nasty. In that creeping, you know that you remember when the fog was spiders under your skin? This is them in your brain.
April? Darling?
Turn it
I
off.
hate this.
Turn it off.
I hate this.
Turn it
I
off.
hate this.
Yeah, and then it stops, and it does take a moment to regain equilibrium because you've gone from everything is okay, everything is really wrong, really wrong, and now everything is back to where it was, wasn't it? Takes a minute to get that settled. This is
Okay.
consider this. This is effectively the whole sanity loss thing that you generally get in Call of Cthulhu, except at least in this case, I'm not making it permanent points removal. It's just if that had continued on for too long, badness would have ensued.
I think there's too much going on in the other planes right now. Here, there's a lot of badness. I'm sorry, you wasted that spell.
Okay.
So wait, this is just a true sight. The murder and blood sacrifice, and you made her see into the ethereal plane without warning her?
I was still stuck on the can see through illusions, so more nonsense like that would stop.
But there isn't any on this floor.
He only saw one thing that had illusion. Everything else was evocation, and I handled that.
What?
No, it's fine. Maybe listen when people say exactly what there is.
I was listening.
Then you think Darwin missed something?
I think.
Or was that preemptive for other floors? Because that I get.
What Darwin said. He just
Understood.
clarified everything with.
I get it. I do. It's just if you're gonna do that, maybe do it on yourself. I know Clarity's supposed to be doing the touching, but if you're not gonna warn somebody before you do something potentially sanity tweaking.
Yeah, I don't know much dealing with the ethereal plane, but the things I've heard in story and song are, it requires a little.
In all fairness, Lyra has permanent true sight, and she probably would have warned Hazel about this, but probably fairly early. So.
Yeah, and we've been out for a while.
Yeah.
It's been many, many years since then, so understandable. But I will say, Hazel, the intent.
Yeah, the intent was good. It's just maybe a little warning.
I don't understand that. Why would they trap a child's room and leave her father's head there?
Are either of y'all?
Are either of we all wet?
Did everyone else come up too?
Well, Ava apparently did. Alice had to because she was the one doing the dispelling. Ava probably tagged along after. Remy was shouting from downstairs. I don't know where Rylan and Faraday are.
I would have gone upstairs with the rest of these folks.
And to be honest, I can't imagine Faraday not going along on an investigation.
So Remy,
we can't. Well, we can't wait. First of all, Antheus was trying to talk. Second of all, Antheus, we couldn't hear you.
Yep, my mic was muted. Probably stays down at first, but then as people start heading up, just kind of, okay, I'm...
Probably managed to stay down right up until the ow! And then, okay, I need to see what's going on. So yeah, it's basically everybody but Remy. So Remy's downstairs with the elderly dog, probably.
Admittedly, someone does need to keep an eye on the dog. That's very important.
That's cool.
Should you
Aloysius.
just keep an eye on the window outs to look outside?
Yeah, and as far as your passive perception goes, I mean, the kitchen window doesn't actually look out onto anything but the backyard, but
Oh, that's something.
nothing is coming at you through the backyard.
Yeah, that's reassuring.
And as to why, I don't know, discombobulation, demoralization.
Because they can.
I mean, if anybody brought that kid back here,
Oh God, that's so awful to think about.
Yeah, well, luckily that's the only thing up here that is like that, so I'm gonna
the only thing that's like that that's magically hidden. We don't know what's in the other rooms.
Right. Ooh, actually, yeah.
And you said there was a room that you couldn't see into.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have a look. I'm pretty sure it's a vault.
They trapped the door. Clarity, do you want to check, like, I'm looking around for like a dresser or a closet or a wardrobe or a trunk of some sort with something that would ostensibly have some Sarah's clothes in it.
I did say chest of drawers.
You did? Okay, my bad. So, Clarity, can you... I'm not taking a chance.
Sure. I'll look around carefully.
Quick perception check just to see if you catch anything, because Alice is going for a clairvoyant look at the metal door.
5 again.
Well, yeah, given you're still...
Seems fine.
Yeah, except you are very intelligent. You know you are still a little rattled from the heavily tainted ethereal plane look, so you're going to do an investigation check, breathing carefully to make sure your hands are not shaking right now.
26.
It's not trapped, but you had to check.
So I'll gather some clothes.
I said it wasn't trapped. I didn't necessarily say there wasn't anything in it besides clothes.
Oh no.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Currently, one drawer, the first drawer you open's got some sort of onesies, booties that she may or may not have outgrown. On top of the dresser is one very small pair of shoes. But you open up the second drawer, and there were some fairly nice dresses in there. And they probably still are if you can get the half-frozen squished rat off them.
Ew.
Wait, she could get new clothes? New clothes from town? Better.
Yeah, the first drawer did have clothes she could wear. It's just those were nice dresses, and now they are covered in rat bits.
I mean, prestidigitation can only do so much.
Nope, not going to make that poor girl wear rat clothes. Nope. Even cleaned rat clothes? Nope.
Yeah, you open the third drawer just long enough to see that it's Aloysius's siblings, former. And shut before you get too much of a look. Just eep. Nope.
Bad.
I think we're good here. Maybe. Is there another drawer?
No, there were 3 drawers.
Okay.
There were 3 drawers, and all that remains is poking some of the plush animals you know aren't illusioned to make sure they're not full of anything. Thankfully, they are not full of anything. Not the couple that you... I mean, Rylan in particular, his passive perception is quite good, and as Clarity's reaching for one particular bear, something about it strikes you as wrong, so you tell her maybe she doesn't want to touch that?
There's something wrong there. I don't know what. Just, you know when you have a bad feeling about something?
Mm-hmm.
I got a bad feeling about this. Maybe
Is
from that particular animal?
is curiosity niggling at you, Clarity?
Hello. Sure.
Oh no.
I mean, you don't have to touch it with hands. You have blades.
I'm gonna poke it with a dagger.
Yeah. To be fair, nothing is actually comes out of it, but mostly you're used to poke. You know how it feels when you poke a teddy bear. This is a bit more squish.
This room's dead to me now.
You know,
Is this teddy bear okay? Is this one all right?
Yeah,
Pointing to like a particular.
Yeah, the two you managed to pick up were fine. It's just that one that Rylan was just like, nah.
Right.
Just that one.
This is enough. This is enough. We'll get her new things.
Yeah.
Yes, this is enough. Let's move on.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and open the other door that we had detrapped. Or wait, no, I won't, because we didn't check that one for traps specifically. So
Except
Clarity...
come on, you did actually state you were doing that.
Yeah.
Now we're all a hand of fate.
Well, it would have been locked anyway, so I would have just...
No, I didn't say that, did I?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that room was locked. It does not necessarily... Actually, to be fair, that one wasn't even locked. She was just trying to disarm a trap. She wasn't... The thieves' tools weren't picking the lock. And we've lost Barnabas again.
Okay, well, I opened it. What do I get? Completely thrown off by the...
That's cocked. Cocked. Will you stop that? Okay, so that's... 13 points of piercing damage as darts come out through the wall. You don't quite see exactly where they come from because you're too busy getting various darts through various bits of you. And Clarity, you just see him walk up to a door, open it, and then backwards with like 3 darts in him.
Are you okay?
Lesson learned. Don't let the squick throw you off. That was entirely my fault.
Is Hazel still with us? She probably
Yeah.
would be, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. There are 3 darts.
We're not leaving darts in you. We've been in that door for God knows how long. Do they look rusted at all?
No, and to be fair, this place has only been abandoned for like a week.
Okay, fair enough.
Probably less.
Darvin just rolls his eyes, going, "Tunk, ow."
Of course, you didn't ask if they were poisoned. Hazel will have thought of that. Darvin probably not so much.
No.
Because he's used to the... If he's getting stuck with needles and poison is involved, he is used to spine blights.
And and I'm standing there waiting for something, going...
Yeah, except Hazel does know that some poisons take a little while to kick in.
Wait.
I just hold one of the darts out, or hold all 3 out, because I've got them all in my hand, so take a look.
Wrap those up at the very least. Regardless of checking, I'm doing this. And I'm gonna put a hand on his shoulder and cast Lesser Restoration.
Yeah, the impression you get is that was a good thing to have done. You don't really know what the poison would have done yet. That's what various kits and things will do. But while it wasn't an instantaneous poison, he would have had some issues. Hello.
Hello. Yeesh.
Your internet really just does not like you today, does it?
Just doesn't like anything today, I guess. I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's all right.
Yeah, no apologies.
I've had those days.
Yeah. I'm going to say that Barnabas has been downstairs with Remy because a lot has happened upstairs, up to and including Darvin opening a door without having anyone check it for traps or even see if it was locked, and got himself...
Like I said, as I was saying after I got hit by the 3 darts, the 3 poison darts, lesson learned, don't let the squick throw you off.
Yeah, there was, I'll let them tell you in character what the squick was. To add insult to injury, that's Sigwald's room. Or rather, it was Sigwald's room. This one does not have its problematic nature hidden in drawers or inside teddy bears or under illusion spells. The place has been trashed. The mattress has been torn open. Most of his books are in tatters on the floor. You can tell that your passive perception isn't bad. You can probably tell that there's fewer books and papers than you would necessarily imagine in Sigwald's room. All of the drawers on his desk, chest of drawers, have been pulled out, dumped out, so they were looking for things, and again, knowing Sigwald, they probably found them. It's not grotesque. This is what you'd get in a robbery or a warrant search, to use Barnabas's... he's probably told stories about that kind of thing on...
Well, and Darvin, having, frequenting some of the seedier sides of town, has heard stories of people getting
raided,
flipped and raided, and etc. So yeah, it's not an unfamiliar description, if not an unfamiliar sight. So yeah, Darvin just kind of looks. Well, kind of figures they'd raid the magic user's room. So steps back out, and Sigwald's, and it's been flipped. They searched it.
And to be fair, you should also point out that they probably stole things.
Yeah,
that you know they don't necessarily know what they mean by that.
Right. Yeah, they searched it for anything worth stealing and did so.
Oh shit! How were they looking for?
Well,
he's a magic user. I mean...
Yeah, I'll say because this is across the room from the room she's looking in. A spell component, spell notes, if he'd been here recently, anything about what we were doing, which he probably didn't have, but they had to check. Tomes they don't have access to because they're evil assholes.
Can I look around to see if there's any, what's left, and if there's anything useful?
Make me an investigation check. I mean, does Faraday want to do so as well? Because this is a wizard's room, be it ever so destroyed.
Yeah.
Darvin's not going to bother. It's Sigwald. He's not all that. He's like, whatever.
17.
23.
It's okay. You're currently down with Remy. It's okay.
I know.
Yeah. Clarity doesn't find anything particularly useful in what's left. A lot of it is stuff that what might be of interest is, for her, it's stuff she's already read. It's basic, evocation for dummies kind of thing. But, you see, that's the thing. For Faraday, this is a treasure trove. Stuff to read. And it got some of that from Twilly's books, but there's only so much time, because she was in with the, with the chores round, and also knew that, Twilly was like, you're 9. But you're not 9 anymore. And there's Wizard's old homework.
Oh my god, like the workbooks you used to get over the summer.
Yeah,
It's hilarious.
exactly that.
I love it. I used to love those as a kid. Oh my god. That's awesome. That's perfect.
So yeah, nothing of use, but I mean, about the only thing that Faraday would get that Clarity wouldn't is that given how hard this place was tossed, they were frustrated. So they weren't finding what they wanted, they were just taking whatever they thought was shiny. So for her, it's pretty obvious that they were looking for something involving your group. And because this is Sigwald's older stuff and he clearly hasn't been back since, didn't even come back for the Earl Miss holidays, apparently. Apparently. There was just nothing of theirs. So, yeah, Faraday can tell them that if she wants, as she's picking up notebooks.
Yeah, like the standard wizards books and whatnot in here, like with how hard they've torn apart the room, I'm guessing they weren't finding what they were looking for. Which would assume would be something about us as a group.
From across the corridors. Not like his information wouldn't be drastically out of date now anyway.
Yeah, because I mean, half of us haven't even met him.
This is probably one of those things none of you have taken the time to catch me up on yet. Who is this guy?
A bit of a jackass, apparently. Reeb actually told us not to behave like him when we met her parents.
It's like I kind of want to tell you about some of what happened, but it also involves when we went back to Star Coast, and I don't particularly like thinking about that right yet.
I was more thinking about that issue with the with insisting on talking. He actually walks up to join you guys. I was thinking more about how he comported himself, according to Ree anyway, at Crestwin's Bakery. Every time they addressed a comment to Ree, he answered it like it was meant for him, and when Amel actually called him out on it, he just went, "No! No!" And she does the voice as best she can, because she hasn't actually heard him, and stormed out of the place. I don't think he was used to dealing with humanoids. From the sounds of things.
Into the books, not enough into the people.
Yeah, books and...
Very strange.
Yeah.
He was also apparently kind of full of himself. Something about, I read the whims of fate. Kind of portentous.
Oh.
Amel still remembers that to this day, apparently.
Yeah, he was more pretentious than portentous, but anyway.
So
well, it's
how
portentous.
exactly did you know this guy?
You're still downstairs with Remy, unless you chose to come up. And actually, to be fair, I was thinking, okay, so Darvin, you had terms for this. You were saying tossed, rated, so, and they had this kind of thing at Bell Race. This is something that not just thieves but law enforcement do.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, yeah. Barnabas!
Yeah.
Remember you were telling us about tossing rooms for contraband?
Yeah.
We've got one.
Be right there. Woo.
Yeah, just be when he comes up. Just be a bit careful, because that shelf across the way was full of blow dart. Apparently.
Gotcha.
So
well, he heads up there? What does he see?
Basically what you have is the room of what was apparently a very studious individual. But the books and papers are scattered. The pages have been ripped out of the books. Faraday's sort of cuddling a few of them, like mine. The mattress and the pillows have been been sliced open and searched through that way. All the drawers on the chest of drawers and the desk have been taken out, turned upside down. And it's clear, particularly to you, because you've seen this before, that there should have been more here. You also know that this became the aggravated search of people who were not finding what they were looking for and decided to just go for petty valuables or just random destruction.
Well, they certainly got pissed by not finding what they wanted. Yeesh.
Yeah, that's what Faraday was saying.
When you're tossing a room, you only do it this way when you get really, really angry. And, I mean, I suppose it could be for another reason, but not likely. I've seen this sort of thing when, sadly, some colleagues weren't able to keep their tempers in check.
Yep.
Well,
that jives
given
with what I saw
some
on Star Coast.
given some of the guilds you were telling us about, I don't think I could blame them for getting a little bit pissed off.
Yeah.
If they were doing something to break your guys' laws, and they're not finding the thing, I can see you getting pissed off. But no.
Well, understand doesn't make it right. But
no, I didn't say it did. But this is me not being judgy because I've never seen the circumstances, and being as understanding as I can be for people I've never actually met, because they are not being assholes directly to me, and they might have reasons.
Fair enough. So, whose room was this? What is this?
This was Sigwald's room, apparently. Is the wizard they were telling people telling you about? The one that apparently restarted as sort of quasi bodyguard for this guy. I feel so bad for her.
Oh, the asshole.
That's what I said. He was trying for portentous and wound up with pretentious instead.
Oh, I know that one.
He was a school of divination wizard.
Ah.
And was not
His
very
whole
good with
thing
people,
was trying
apparently.
to see things before they happened, but he couldn't see social interactions before they happened.
It helped that he seemed to think that every comment ever made by anyone ever was directed at him. So when Corey was telling Ree that she'd make Ree's favorite for dinner when they came by, he said, no, don't go to the trouble. I'll eat anything. I wasn't there. I hadn't met them yet. But having heard this, I just... Amel Crestwind called him an asshole. And you know how chill Amel is. I think he's frozen again.
Yep.
You know what? It's break time anyway. Pretty much. So can somebody type to him that we're on break? So hopefully he can boot something. I don't know. And either way, we'll look at the rest of the rooms when we come back in about 5 minutes. And we're back. Hopefully for the rest of the session, in at least one case. Still searching the Sullivan plantation living quarters, and have so far found some fairly disturbing bits and pieces. Although Barnabas, being a relatively observant individual, will probably have to backtrack for a minute, because he's pretty sure he saw someone's severed head sitting on a shelf in a baby's room.
Yeah, that's a detail he'd bring up, that's for sure.
Yeah, it looked like a teddy bear before I dispelled that.
What in...
Apparently the drawers are worse.
I don't know if the drawers are worse. The severed head of the
You
baby's
realize he's opening the
father.
drawers now because he's got to, right?
Okay, well, the first drawer he opens is empty because Clarity's cleared that out. Second one he opens is some very nice dresses covered with apparently exploded rat. And the third one is Aloysius's siblings. Similarly, because Clarity didn't open it very far. She saw Little Kitten Head and shut it again. Little Kitten Head is not exactly attached to Little Kitten Body in any of the cases. So if he opens the thing the whole way, it's instead of exploded rats, exploded kittens. Look, I was trying to spare her, but he had to look, so...
I knew it would be bad. Did it anyway. Ugh.
And then there was the teddy bear that Clarity stabbed. Incidentally, it's if you look at the teddy bear, the knife wound does actually look like a knife wound because there's this congealed blood brown sludge that's kind of dripped out of it, along with something that's squirming. You're not entirely sure what it is. You really probably don't want to know.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't obvious it was complete monsters that did this.
Yeah, well, that's... And I don't know what's in most of the rest of these other rooms, but we really need to check doors in case of traps for all of them. That one at the far end that you couldn't detect magic through is very definitely a vault. And surprisingly, or maybe not, because I bet that has a pretty serious lock. It looks untouched. So I don't think they could get in. Actually, having looked at the keyhole, they tried. But you, Clarity, you know the look of somebody who's an amateur with thieves' tools. You know the mess they leave behind them. That.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think that's what got them cross and trashed this room?
No, I think according to Barnabas and Faraday, it's that they didn't find what they were looking for, which was probably information on us, which, as I said, is significantly out of date. But, you know, they're not necessarily to know. They just know he was with us once. You know, before there was an us in your case, Faraday's case, Barnabas's case, Ryland's case. So, yeah, there's, like, 3-4 other rooms that are kind of unaccounted for. I remember somebody saying that one of them was an office. One of them is probably the parents' bedrooms. Maybe guest rooms? I don't know. And the vault at the far end there.
I ain't touching any more doors. I learned my lesson.
I'm surprised they didn't try to go through the walls to get into the vault. It wasn't like they were trying to.
He couldn't see through the walls either. So the walls are probably reinforced too. He did the detect magic thing. You can't see through like
can't go like an inch of metal, and you're stuck.
Yeah, I had a bit of a knock. The walls made the tunk 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 noise rather than and knocks on one of the more wooden plaster.
Gosh.
A bit more than an inch, I'd say.
I mean, it's a vault. It seemed to have been keeping all of the Sullivans. I mean, as far as I know, the Sullivans were very good ranchers and also kind of intel brokers. So a lot of Gray's Inn folk are. They make it look like gossip, but it's about the only way that anybody in Baronsphere gets any news at all. And now it's entirely shut down. And worse. I hadn't thought of that. I mean, Barnabas and, well, Ree is still dog floofing. But, I mean, you worked with the mercenary companies. If you want an ambush, what's the first thing you do?
Blind them.
Yeah, shut down all access to any kind of information. This is going to get significantly ugly. And I have to wonder how many other ranches are looking like this. But at the very least, anything that's could be used against anybody was probably locked up in that vault, along with the coin. And they clearly couldn't get into it. A lot of magic, but couldn't get through a metal door.
Sometimes physical is best.
Or anti-magic.
Yeah, I mean, that's a thing. Could you see something that nullified magic?
I don't know.
think it would come up as a blank spot.
Well, it kind of did, because
Yeah,
he couldn't see past the metal. It's like if you're looking at that wall, you can't see what's in the room on the other side because there's a wall in the way.
Can I make an Arcana check to see if I would know that?
Same.
By all means.
27.
She read all the things.
Literally all of it.
Faraday,
I just know from-
Faraday and Darwin right
so-
there.
Yeah, it is Faraday who's like, you know, if the wall had just been wall, probably would have seen some kind of abjuration effect if it was in the room. But if that abjuration effect was on the inside layer of that inch or so of metal, then you wouldn't be able to see it because an inch or so of metal is in the way. So no, you don't know whether him having looked and only seen up to the wall means that there's nothing behind it that might nullify magic. Because that's an abjuration effect, and you'd need to be able to see through to the abjuration effect to see it.
Okay. So yeah, it does hard to say for sure because if there is like metal there would block your sight, so the hole being there would be it's hard. Yeah, it like hole being there could just be metal plate you can't see through. Could be you probably might see some abjuration effect causing it otherwise, but
Oh, I get it, because an anti-magic field kind of thing is an abjuration. And you see what kind of effect it is, like you saw that enchantment on that bear was illusion.
yeah.
And you saw the evocation magic past the door, because you can see through that amount of wood. So
You'd see the fact that there was that type of magic, not necessarily know what it was specifically, but because it's an anti-magic field, so you're doing it from outside.
you still
looking at the
see
field,
it.
so you'd still yeah, exactly, but you wouldn't be able to, but if I was in it, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I'm learning things. I just know from what I can do, and I'm still.
You're over explaining
Yeah.
again. We
No,
get it.
I'm fascinated. So thank you, Faraday. I said it right. Yeah?
Not quite, but close. You're getting closer.
Sorry.
Right. I mean, should we keep investigating?
At least make sure none of the other doors are trapped.
You already
I already said they didn't.
physically, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it's just as well to know because that's his head. Where's his body?
Where's the rest of them? Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
but I have a maybe silly question. Wouldn't the contents of what's in the vault, any coin or anything, now belong to Sarah, I guess?
Yeah, and that's not a silly question. We need to get in there to make sure that we get what's rightfully hers. But one thing did actually occur to me that we all missed. If there was something that nullified magic in there, I would not have been able to see in it with clairvoyance.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
Oh.
Because I used, and she taps the clairvoyance chain.
Because the clairvoyance would have been in the field if there was.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's like if a bit of you is standing there.
Gotcha. Oh, so if I had tried to do what I was going to do, same thing. Yeah, got it. Okay. That makes
So
sense.
since I did see in there,
Therefore, no anti-magic.
And it wouldn't make sense to have anti-magic in there anyway. What if they want to store something that is magic in there?
That would depend on what kind of magic thing you'd want to store.
Well, yeah, but
even I mean, I suppose it depends on the anti-magic, and I suppose.
Anyway, that's all conjecture, and
we've hit theory crafting territory. Let's
yeah, let's hurry up so we can get back down.
Well, no, I mean, in all fairness, if I'm remembering right, this is actually kind of important for dealing later, potentially. It would suppress whatever a magical artifact could do, but it wouldn't nullify the magic entirely. It would just make it not function until it got out again.
So you could.
It'd be a very good way to store magic things.
Yeah, actually.
So you probably couldn't actually see that it was magical. Because any way you'd have to identify the fact that it's magical wouldn't work in there.
So basically, when we do, I have faith and clarity. When we do get that vault door open, do detect magic from the doorway, and see what I see. If I see anti-magic, well,
again, you're still missing the fact that I could see in there with clairvoyance.
Yeah, the clairvoyance was already in there. We
were more talking about if
in general,
if somebody threw an anti-magic field at us, we would not panic about our many magical items.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
not destructive. It's just disabled.
It's suppressive.
Suppressive. That's the word. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, I'll just when we get it open, I'll do detect magic from there, and we'll go from there.
But for now, no, you're probably right. We should disarm the traps and make sure that there's not anything unduly horrible. I mean,
I'm just also remembering, the blind harpy and what was found there. I just we don't need any more surprises.
Yeah, but although to be fair, that was more underground, so.
Well, it was the room.
Yeah, the singular room, thankfully, but. I get what you mean, but I have a feeling that if they were going to do anything that horrendous, it would have been where most of the people were. Specifically, the staff quarters.
Fair. I'm being paranoid.
No, it's entirely fair. I'm trying to be reassuring in my logic-y kind of way.
Okay, sorry. Gotcha.
But we still have concerns over Mr. Sullivan's everything but head.
Shall I look at the next door?
Hmm?
Do you want me to do perception first?
Unless you're skipping straight to investigation because your perception has been shit lately.
Well, it's always kind of shit. So I'm just gonna skip to the investigating part. 22.
Yeah, there is definitely a trigger on that one.
I will try to disarm it. $14. Still terrible for me.
In a way, it's terrible for you, but you handled it relatively well in that when you pushed that door open just a little too much before you went to disarm, you pulled it back shut when you accidentally triggered it, so the thunk 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 of darts ends up in the door instead of in anybody else. So you did technically disarm it without hurting anybody.
That's a win.
Yeah, Barnabas will notice that Clarity and Alice are both sporting a couple of acid burns on Clarity because she's got a fair bit of armor, so it's only a spot or two. Alice doesn't wear armor or winter clothing, so a couple of bits of her clothes are eaten in spots right about waist level, as is the skin beneath.
Ugh.
Yeah, that was an acid spray trap of some description.
I think Mending can fix that later.
She pokes at the acid burned skin. Really?
Well, so that never mind.
I know what he meant.
I'm allowed to tease sometimes.
Oh yeah, he was playing into it.
I just wonder if too much has been eaten, because Mending would just seal it back together. I'm leaving it for now, because if anything more damaging happens... the door you open next is apparently a guest room. And it looks surprisingly untouched. You've seen hotels with more personality. Well, to be fair, you haven't seen hotels, Rylan. This just looks like, although in all fairness to you, it just looks like, I've seen a fair few places in this part of the world, and I didn't think any furniture combination could be this boring.
There's no personality. Anyway.
It's like the world's most simplistic, like bed, floor, just
chest of drawers.
Yeah, I'm just picturing like everything in here is like made up of the word for what it is, almost.
It's basically like somebody with a pretty good budget went shopping for all the sturdiest but most basic stuff at IKEA. It is all pine. There isn't even a rug. It's bed, end tables, chest of drawers, wardrobe.
That really is what I'm picturing in my head. Just the bed is literally just the word bed really big to make space.
In pine, yes.
Yes, in big pine letters, yes.
Okay.
I'll have a look around.
Investigation check.
$23.
Dex save. No, it's not a trap, so...
What kind of save?
Dex.
Oh, okay.
You should be fine with this.
17.
You manage not to be landed on by the headless corpse of Mr. Sullivan when you open the wardrobe.
I found him!
Yep. This room was too boring. There had to be something weird.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I didn't trust it.
Unfortunately, when he does hit the floor, it gets a whole lot more interesting because there's more crawly.
How does this have more personality than the entire room?
Alice sort of kneels down because she is not squeamish. She couldn't afford to be. Turns him over, and because he landed on what would have been his face if he still had one, So she sort of nudges him over, and part of the reason that he's been sort of having maggots leave like rats deserting the sinking ship is because they were taking up residence in the now pretty much empty chest cavity.
Oh.
I think I know what was leaking in that bear now.
Oh, man.
And I think there were probably more of them because, I mean, this guy is missing lungs, heart, liver.
Why did they move everything? I mean, beyond the ritual nonsense, which we saw underground, what is the point of moving this much bits?
To disturb.
And then just leaving them.
To disturb.
Demoralization.
Yeah. I figure that what's in the bear is either the lung or the heart. Weirdly, given what I guess fancy folk would call excision, I'm wondering if they ate the liver.
Would not be surprised.
Well, he's technically prey, I guess, if you're... But I draw the line at eating the liver of sapient things I've killed. Yeah, no, this is... He was an asshole, but this is a bit too much punishment for being an asshole. And given that these particular assholes seem to be, at the very least, abetting the bigotry of the Southern lands, I would have thought that they'd fit in with that kind of asshole, except for being a decent person, which is probably why he's this now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guessing since it's probably not frozen, the body, is it?
No, the house has been, I mean, it's not warm, but it's not below freezing either. It's pretty well insulated.
So it's probably smelling...
Not as much. It's
No?
it's more like it's been in the fridge for a week rather than the freezer.
And most of what would have really rotted
Was removed.
is already removed.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, there are intestines. That seems to be what the maggots were having.
Yeah, but again, they would have removed themselves a lot of stuff too. So
Yeah, the digestive tract is full of, holes and eggs. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking a funeral pyre because unlike the horse pile, this deserves at least a little bit of decency.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a thing. I've never met him, so I'm probably going to have to ask the Hearthhearts to do this. Twilly would probably know how to get a letter to this Sigwald. He probably needs to know what the hell is going on, if for no other reason than knowing where his sister ended up.
Yeah.
Right.
Gonna be a hell of a letter.
I trust Twilly. And it'd be better if I could say that at least we gave him a proper send-off. We couldn't really do that for his mother. But he deserves to know that Sarah's still alive. I mean...
I think we should finish checking everywhere else and then
Yeah.
get to that.
Yeah, I'm saying it because I'm a little concerned. I mean, Sigwald was studying magic, and we all know that magic can get through a whole lot of issues when it comes to transportation blockades. And I think I'm just praying that he didn't come home for or almost term break. But those of you who know him maybe should be prepared in case.
Yeah.
Well, nothing to do but...
Yeah, Clarity has found nothing else in the room. The chests of drawers were empty. The bedside tables were empty. The bed was made and had not been used in a while. There was nothing in this room except the furniture and the headless body in the closet. Wardrobe, sorry, because closets are built into the wall and wardrobes are freestanding.
On to the next room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In this cavalcade of
Yick.
fun.
Let's call it what it is and call it the cavalcade of yick.
That works.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, next door, investigation check.
Yep. 24.
Yeah, that one is significantly trapped on
Gee.
in at least 3 spots.
Mm.
Come on, damn it! And she's glaring at her beef stools. 19.
It's a narrow miss for the third one because it's the triggers are in 3 different spots along the door, and more things hit the door than get disarmed before they even go off. But again, only because those traps were very, very complicated. But you do get the door open with nobody getting hurt by anything. And the reason that this room was so heavily trapped is probably fairly clear. This is the Sullivan's office. It is as ransacked as Sigwald's room was. Possibly more so, but it's hard to tell because there weren't a whole lot of furnishings to rip apart, except the various chairs in the place. Every bit of cushion has been torn open. They've ripped out the fluff to be absolutely sure. There's less paper around than there was in Sigwald's room. And given this is an office, that's probably a little weird.
Barnabas, this might actually be more in your forte, given their dealings. You want to take a look around?
Absolutely.
I mean, you could assist and give him advantage.
Yep, I'll assist.
Okay,
All right.
so you get advantage.
Investigation, right?
Yes. Good thing there was the advantage.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the thing. It would be more his forte, except a lot of what he's finding is breeding stock books. Actually, I think it's what he's finding would be the sorts of things that you would expect to find on a ranch. You know, the stock books, the various economic records.
Mm-hmm.
But things are missing. So what is missing in a barony that was said just about 10 minutes ago was full of spies? Because they probably didn't lock up everything.
Is there nothing about like travel routes or anything like that around?
No, but why would they need that?
Yeah.
So,
Something's definitely missing here, and I can't.
Yes, you can. If it's a, this, apparently I was slightly too subtle when I was saying that. Everything you would expect from a plantation of breeding good horses is here.
Mm-hmm.
Any intel gathered through their intel gathering dealings, which you were told they were involved in, there is nothing like that anywhere in here, and there's a lot less paper than there should be.
Gotcha.
And they could not have locked up everything in the vault, so some of it should have been here, but it's not.
Oh, they were after. Looks like they took any kind of intel they could find at all. There would have to be just more than what's here. That's what they were after.
At least in this room.
Yeah.
They would have updated for the business in Goldendale, wouldn't they? Getting rid of the Seneschal.
Mm.
I don't know if they knew where he was staying, but hell, we didn't check where he was staying the last time we went there. But I'm pretty sure they assigned some mercs to him, didn't they? That's something.
Yeah.
But they have to know about what became of Corvell and who he was masquerading as, because if nothing else, standing up in the middle of the town square and pulling an adult dragon's head out of your bag of holding kind of gets the attention. And inciting a riot does even more. He was trying to intimidate the guardsmen. He rallied the townsfolk instead. This actually wouldn't be quite so bad if it hadn't involved a 12-year-old getting a crossbow bolt through the throat for the crime of throwing a tomato at a guardsman's shield. Hazel fixed it.
Hazel.
At least there's nothing.
Sun, and therefore we won.
At least there's nothing rotting or horrible in here. That's something. You're getting a little tired of rotting things. I think we have like 2 or 3 more guest rooms to look at.
Yep.
Yeah, I suppose we have to.
Because, well, yeah, I mean, somebody's going to come back up here at some point.
Yeah.
We should make sure that none of it is
Okay, next door.
All right, then. $26.
This one is not trapped. This one isn't locked either.
I carefully push open the door.
It's actually give me an athletics check.
Oh, jeez. That's gonna go well. 11.
The door, because the door does open kind of into the room, and you just shove. It's not moving. There's a blockage.
There's something blocking it.
Alice, you have fur. I've got it. Given the thing with the horses, let's just have somebody who can not have it be on fur. I'm sure stuff is hard to get out of fur.
Everybody else step back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All the way back.
Actually, Remy does notice, because you're pushing inwards, There's a certain amount of squelch, as Alice with that total roll was like 25. So shoves the door. There's a squelch noise, like it, basically like trying to wring blood out of a steak. And a couple of corpses drop past the window that Remy is looking out of.
Remy scrambles up at the sight of swift movement.
Yeah, and if you peer out the window, there's a couple.
Cracks open
Yeah,
window to peer out.
there's a couple of incredibly eviscerated, and I mean the facial features are impossible to tell at this point. Apparently claws and various other bits, and they haven't entirely frozen, so there's crawling, and it's awful. And they apparently fell out the window, which broke when they got shoved. Basically, if you look up out the window that's above you, you'll find another couple of corpses hanging caught on broken glass.
Ooh, okay,
And Alice is... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Remy tries to cast a message through the ceiling. Assuming that will work.
Yeah. Except you have to point at a creature. You can't point at her because...
Oh, you... Okay, oh yeah, that's fair. You can cast it through objects if you know the target and that it's beyond the wall.
Yeah, but you don't know exactly where Alice is.
Okay. Then she'll just lean back in and then go poke her head to the stairway. Alice, two bodies just fell out of the...
I know!
And there's two more hanging halfway out.
Will you just come up here, because I'm not telling you in words why bodies came out of this room? Because for you guys,
Okay.
you guys and Remy, when she turns up, sees the clear spot that Alice made by shoving the door open, and it's that bit where you've got too many things stuffed into a room, and when you open up the door, falls out in whatever space is available. And apparently there was a flaw in that window because things pressed up against it, and poop.
Remy asks the dog to bark if he smells anything before she heads upstairs.
The dog is a she, and the dog just goes woof. And yeah,
And she somewhat regrets going upstairs, clearly.
this is not the worst thing we have seen up here so far.
Okay.
I think you jinxed it, Alice. In the last room, I think you jinxed it.
Don't care.
I'm this close to throwing up.
Maybe you should wait downstairs with the dog, Ava.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Anybody who is feeling like they're going to lose the dinner I worked very hard to prepare, go downstairs. Yeah, I'm not poking through this to find cause of death. Ree, what did you see on those bodies?
Claw marks. Lots of them.
That could be anything. Great. I'm gonna shut this door now. Before anybody actually moves in here, we're gonna have to... She shuts the door, reaches into her bag of holding, pulls out one of those tubes of lip paint that she picked up in Eggref, and crosses an X on the door in bright red. I think I'm gonna do this with every room that had, like, remains.
Good plan.
Okay.
Next. $28.
This one is also not trapped. And not locked.
All right. Slowly opens the door.
The door opens. There's the sound of many, 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 many highly disturbed rats.
Ugh.
Oh.
They're alive. Pretty sure they seem to be whole even, but they seem to have colonized the mattress. And judging by the hole you see in that baseboard with your pretty high perception, they chewed through the wall and have been eating the corpse buffet next door.
Rats do what rats
Plenty
do.
to eat here.
The cycle of life, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's a rat eat whatever the fuck it wants world out there.
Yep.
Shuts the door and draws a circle on it. It's not remains, but it probably also needs dealing with before anybody tries to move in.
Yep.
Right.
New residents are going to have to be evicted and ideally made and moved elsewhere.
You've got one more door and the vault.
Okay. $19.
This one is also not trapped. This
Not
one is
locked
also
either.
not locked.
Okay. Opening that one.
This is another room that is entirely pine. It looks just as boring as the first one did. Before the body came out of the closet. Wardrobe. Thing.
I'm gonna look around the room, but opening the wardrobe and step back real quick.
Nothing comes out of the wardrobe except for a very cold looking moth. If you open up the drawers, empty,
Yeah.
empty, empty.
Empty.
There is something burned into the bottom of the shelf from one of the end tables, though. You've seen this before. Clarity, Hazel's seen this before. Darvin has seen this before. I'm not sure if Remy has encountered it. No, she probably has, given she was actually down with the with the cultist bits of nonsense. But you three have it most because they were wearing their symbols a bit more openly in that day with the with Candor and the whole pixie mess. It's that bastardized symbol of Palor. Just been burned into the wood.
Son of a...
Clarity points to it and tells the others who don't know, these are the fuckers who had Candor.
Rylan, can I have a look at that corner of paper with the symbol that
Just handing it over. Yep. Just
that's
the match.
not a direct match, but Clarity, you can see this, can't you? They've clearly taken this and modified it. You can see that there's a basic resemblance to the black sun symbol. It's just that there's a little something extra on Ryland's. Actually, Hazel and Remy, make me a religion check. Darvin probably can as well, given Jack of all trades. So
16.
9.
yeah, you're the outer gods are not really your forte. Yeah,
Remy?
neither of you. No, she did. She got an 8.
Definitely not.
There it is. Oh, didn't say it though. Okay.
It weirdly, possibly not that weirdly, given that these
Information from all sources.
and in all fairness, also these are the fuckers that, if nothing else, screwed up his home. He vaguely has, and he can't say for sure exactly which ones they are. That roll isn't that good, but a couple of those markings to him look like the start of other symbols from outsider gods.
I can't say which ones, but now that I've got that and that to contrast and compare to, it's similar to some involving some of the outer gods, some of the outliers. So
Oh, he'd
You
probably
mean
have
like the one that is the one that does the kind of thing that we saw in the underground?
Shamash, you were saying.
I don't know if Darwin would
No.
know that.
No.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, you. To be fair, the only reason you haven't got specifics is because you didn't really get specifics. You saw that once, possibly on some real edgelord sailor type who didn't know it, like the kind of people who have a Japanese kanji tattooed on them and they don't know what it
I don't know
means.
what it means. Gotcha. Yeah, I've seen that symbol. I think I saw it on. You know those people that get. It was a sailor who wanted people to think he was more of a badass than he was, so he basically just got anything scary looking that he could
And
get.
he was wandering around with this with symbols
Something-
from an outer
something-
god attached to him.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh, he wasn't the brightest bulb in the box. Let me tell you. As a matter of fact, I think was he the one that fell overboard? He might have been.
He was. Darvid will remember. He was actually the one who got pushed overboard when he got mistaken by a cultist for a cultist by a couple of mercenaries who'd been fighting in the Southern Lands for like 6 months.
Yeah. No. I take that back. He didn't fall overboard. He was basically summarily. Thank you. Summarily tossed overboard by a couple of mercs who mistook him for a cultist. That
Understandable. I would have done the same thing.
Well, I
Stupid
remember.
games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah. Well, I saw him myself at one point, but then I was informed what happened to him because he kind of stuck in my mind for a while. But yeah, that was sort of a lesson in what not to do. Don't do this, kids. Don't get tattoos you don't understand. So yeah, he's become a life lesson for a lot of folk.
All that
to say, that's why this is pinging outer god-ish related stuff.
I have
which one?
Actually, in all fairness, there is one other room apart from this one, the Mr. and Mrs. Sullivan's room, but this one, I can only imagine that they had that symbol here because they weren't staying in the master bedroom.
Given what we've already found, I shudder to think what's in there. Ooh, but I mean, we got to find out. But ooh.
See, outer gods we've heard direct mention of so far. Shamash and Tharizdun.
And technically Lolth, we've been drowning in drow.
Lolth as well. That's 3.
I just had a really scary thought.
Oh boy.
If 5 metallic dragons can form a sort of coalition and run a country, and the gods that we know can form the divine conclave, what's to stop the outsider gods from uniting under a banner of black shit?
And one of them's trying to manipulate a dark but not
outer god.
Ouija.
We know that much at least.
Because Tiamat isn't technically an outsider god. She's just a nasty piece of work.
And it sounds to me like they're essentially looking to do the Lolth myth times part 2.
Yeah, and
Five-headed boogaloo.
given what she's already like. Well, we got the master bedroom yet to go.
Let's get it over with, I guess. 25.
This one is not trapped, but it is locked.
All right. 16.
Takes a minute.
Uh-oh.
It's a surprisingly good lock, but it takes a minute. And when you open the door, the tableau is probably the most disturbing you guys have had yet. These are more corpses, but they are remarkably whole. You've got rather pale blonde-haired individual woman sitting at the makeup table, dressed in the colors that you would associate with House Vanadar. Over in a chair in the corner with a little short bookshelf next to it, clearly Mrs. Sullivan's reading nook, is a darkish-skinned woman with blue paint dumped all over her rather untidily braided hair, and a couple of what appear to be goat horns having been pretty much driven into the skull.
Oh my god, this is supposed to be us.
Yeah, I was gonna keep going because this is actually indicative of how much they know about y'all. Just saying.
Sorry.
Sitting on the floor next to the reading Clarity Corpse is a shortest individual. The hair is a little too brown, and the ears have been made pointy by the addition of what appear to be just broken off bits of metal, basically fixed to the ears, with a symbol of Palor around the neck. Sat on the bed, this one's had their hair powdered white, and it's not quite long enough. Next to, they've taken a teenager for this one. Dark hair made darker by, you think, tar. Hacked off short, wearing some of the armor pieces that you would have imagined came from the Merc companies. There's, over by the reading nook, kind of stuck to the wall, is a stocky gentleman with legs cut off at the knee and replaced with what appear to be cow hooves, and the bull's head attached. The Dragonborn also, not a Dragonborn, but supposed to be a Dragonborn, also sat by the reading nook. Its head and its tail have been painted off silver, as close to silver as they could come. And the head and tail are probably the newest looking things in this room. Because from what you can tell, it's new enough, fresh enough, to have been from one of those young white dragons. And half shadowed in the corner, another individual whose ears have been made pointy. Dressed in effectively, because they didn't have any really colorful clothes to use, they just doused him in various shades of orange paint.
Oh, gods.
On the wall next to the Rylan effigy, little mouth opens in the wall, courtesy the magic mouth spell. Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. And fades away.
The voice, how familiar is it?
Not.
Clarity's just standing in the doorway, just staring at everything. Not moving.
We can't hear you, Marion.
Sorry. If it was in the walls, would I have heard that voice or not?
No, because it's only on that one wall and you're downstairs. It wasn't... That's the thing. It was a small enough magic that Darvin hadn't been able to see it, mostly because it didn't trigger without a very specific set of circumstances. So, no, nobody's been particularly loud about this.
There's... Right. Barrier rights for all of them because...
Yeah, actually, it occurs to me. Clarity, Hazel, I think Remy, and Darvin would actually know the Clarity look-alike. That was Sigwall's friend that you met in the Blind Harpy.
Barrier rights for everyone. As soon as possible, because I'm currently... I would rather not set fire to our building.
I'd rather not set fire to Sarah's building.
Thank you.
Well, I know she's struggling right now, but I don't know if... On one hand, I don't want to call Ava up here, but on the other hand, I think she needs to see what we're up against here. Thoughts, comments?
She needs to see
Go get
it.
her.
I agree. I'll go, Hazel, I'll go.
I was actually just gonna call her.
Oh, okay.
She's
You were the
been down
protection.
with the dog, and it just leans down and says, "Ava,
Yeah?
sorry, but you really need to have a look at this."
Am I gonna hate it?
Yes.
Coming.
And yeah. We can't hear you, Ethan.
As she walks by Darvin, he just kind of just looks at her and just like with a look in his face, like, sorry, but
Yeah, and Alice A. So sort of standing next to Harika with a wing kind of semi-hug.
You guys are scaring me. What could be worse than what we've already seen?
And she just guides you to the door with the supportive arm and supportive wing. That.
She just looks... Takes a second and like connects the dots. These are us, right?
Yeah.
Wait, there's even...
And given that that Dragonborn is sitting by the reading nook, I'm pretty sure they mean Farida, not Froseth.
How do they know?
I mean, with how fresh the dragon parts are, those were what we just dealt with. They are watching
a few days ago, but yeah, because we were traveling a couple of days between there and here, but still. Keep in mind, we're dealing with a god.
Yep.
And the elements aren't hiding us from Tiamat anymore.
Nope.
That's true.
Also, probably means because Tiamat wasn't seeing us when we were in Goldendale just because of the sheer amount of protective magic on the place. We're not in Goldendale anymore.
And so we don't have any... we don't have any anti-scrying at all.
I mean, I sort of do, but it's very tiny radius and...
It's for things, it's for discussing important things, not... And in all fairness, if they're watching us, they know approximately what we're gonna do anyway.
What is it supposed to be? A threat? A deterrent?
Yes.
Yes and yes. It's another thing to fuck with us.
Well, and the mouth and the wall.
Come and have a go if you.
What?
They use the magic mouth spell. It opens up a mouth in the wall, and this one was saying, "Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough."
I mean, whether or not
Hey,
we have to have a
come
go.
on.
Chromatic.
Let's.
This is why I said what I said, and I still hold to it. Every last one.
At some point, we're gonna have to do something about Tiamat. But there's the other thing. Yeah, okay. Tiamat can see us, probably. But she's not going around doing this much mass murder. So, who actually did this? Because if they're still wandering around Gray's Inn somewhere...
One of her minions, at the very least, the white. If not the white, then the black.
Yeah, but the black can't because he's trying to rule from Black Crown. The white probably can't himself because I don't think he is the one who's magically inclined.
Green.
The Ancient Green, I think, is still... That's why Rylan came to us.
Yeah,
she's still fucking up the Elven Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Then...
I mean, if it...
Could it be half dragon bitch?
Unless she's doing shit in Black Crown, that's the thing. Could be half dragon bitch, but I get the impression she wasn't quite powerful enough for this on her own.
The one that's left I think is a red.
Except
but that doesn't seem like they're.
There's the Dracolich.
Yeah.
But there's also
gotta be someone closer
at
at hand. Otherwise, why leave this here?
Not necessarily. Keep in mind that not only can that Archon guy teleport, I don't think he did this, but he can teleport. But if he can, so can anything else that needs to plane shift out of, say, Avernus, like the you remember the Abishai? The blacks are the assassins, the blues are the magic users. You remember that fight?
I remember the blue, the one that fired chain lightning.
Yeah, but more that, they left that very specific message and they didn't say where to come at them. When it seemed that,
well,
Gray's Inn is the most obvious place we would go.
Yeah, but if they're all answering to Tiamat at the top, it's like one high commander asking one unit of mercs to do one thing, and another unit of mercs that's entirely separate from that unit to do something that supports the one that's over there. It's like calling in a specialist from another part of the company to work a problem. Like the stories I've heard about the quick flight diminutives, the reason they had that one boom merchant was because they had a very specific task they needed to do. And he wasn't usually their frontliner, but they had to call him into the front line because they desperately needed a building to no longer exist, and there was only so much magic Twila was able to throw at things while keeping them all alive. So...
Yeah, and sometimes ship crews will bring on certain people like in a similar fashion. So yeah,
it's just, it feels important to know who else is in the area, because they might be taking other farmsteads like this, and it's bad enough with the Sullivans. We don't have time to hunt them down before we take the white, but on our way to the black from there.
Or, I mean, how far? How far is it from here to Gray's Inn again?
By Mooseback, I think it's just another couple of days.
So, I mean, depending on what on the way there as well. So.
Well, to be fair, they probably would have radiated out from there. I'm thinking we stand a better chance of actually catching anyone if we go up, because more of Gray's Inn is up, according to the maps I've looked at, than either of those directions.
True.
But for right now, let's...
Do we want to go ahead and look at the vault?
I think I'd prefer we deal with the bodies first and take a minute.
Yeah.
If for no other reason than we're coming up to, and any investigation of the vault and thinking about who actually physically did this will be a good stalling point in case you cannot be with us next session. Because I have to consider these things. And since we seem to have stepped into the absolute horror place, well, at the very least, it'll be really cathartic when you kill the dragon in charge of this area. I am assuming that you will succeed. I am hoping that you will succeed with minimal attrition.
Yes, we will.
We will succeed.
I'm talking out of character, and I'm thinking about the dice.
Right.
That's very true.
Given your dice luck versus ours.
Hey, I wasn't that lucky this time. LSA kept flubbing saving throws. Anyhow, yes, no. So I will see you, hopefully all of you, possibly most of you, in 2 weeks' time when we deal with last rites, the vault, and anything else en route to the lair of Varidel.